So we've been kind of keeping tabs on this. If you remember, there was an option for 5 series. That option got reduced down to approximately 3, and of those 3, we got House of the Dragon. Okay, Big Show nerds. It's a quick one. We're not doing any of the frills. There might be information over here. Who knows? All of that being said, thank you for joining me. This is the Nerd News Headlines. I am Dustin, and that is an intro. So let's talk TV streaming. Our TV streaming section is technically pretty small, but the first piece is big in and of itself, and that is a follow-up on the Game of Thrones spin-off series that are coming to HBO and HBO Max. So we've been kind of keeping tabs on this. If you remember, there was an option for 5 series. That option got reduced down to approximately 3, and of those 3, we got House of the Dragon. Well, now we have 3 more that are reportedly somewhere in early development. So the first of those 3 is working title is 9 Voyages. 9 Voyages will follow Lord Corlys Velaryon. Corlys is the sea snake. If you've read the books, they've alluded to him for sure. His character will also make an appearance in the House of the Dragon series, so he's a little bit proper series. But showrunner, this one seems to be the furthest along in development because they actually have a showrunner. The showrunner is Bruno Heller, who created the series Rome, which I believe was on Starz. Maybe it was Showtime, but I'm pretty sure it was Starz. And that's what we have on the first one. The second one is called 10,000 Ships, which is set even further back in the timeline than the House of the Dragon era. This is approximately 1,000 years before the main Game of Thrones series. It's going to involve Princess Nymaria. Now, that name probably sounds familiar. That's because Nymaria was the name of Arya Stark's direwolf. Nymaria is apparently a character of lore upon the time of the main Game of Thrones series and has spawned a couple of names in the main series. The other one was Nymaria... the snake, I believe, which we don't really get in the movie or in the TV series, but we did get a little bit more in the books. So yeah, this is she is the ancestor of the House Martell, which is telling, but that is all we know so far about that series. And then the third series apparently is the least developed so far, as there is no working title yet even. It is going to be based in the area of King's Landing known as Flea Bottom, which is apparently a slum. This is the birthplace of a number of shadier characters in the mainline Game of Thrones series, so there's going to be a series that explores that area. Again, presumably a prequel, because we're going to see kind of the genesis of some of these, like I said, more shady characters. So all that being said, that's what we have for follow-ups. Our one news piece has to do with King of the Hill. King of the Hill is reportedly getting a revival series, not a not renewal, not a recreation, not a rebirth, not whatever. What they're doing is the offer on the table from Mike Judge to Fox Television is to create the same characters, 15 years in the future. So we'll see Bobby Hill grow up. We'll see Hank Hill as an even older crotchety man. And this kind of gives them a little bit of leeway that maybe Luann could have passed, or maybe they can recast her and it'll make a little bit more sense why she doesn't sound the same, because if you remember, Brittany Murphy was the voice of Luann, and she has passed since that series ended, sadly. So yeah, all that was pretty exciting. No real anything beyond that at the moment, so that's where we're going to end TV streaming. Movie news. This is mostly follow-ups. We have one actual news piece, and then we're talking about passings in Hollywood. So let's start things off with The Flash. We have one follow-up. Remember, we talked about Billy Crudup is leaving the new Flashpoint movie. Well, he's being replaced by Ron Livingston. Ron Livingston, if you don't remember, is the guy from Office Space. Come on! That's what we've got for that one. Next, we're talking about another casting announcement, and that comes from Black Adam. Pierce Brosnan has been cast as Dr. Fate. That's kind of awesome. I'm not going to lie. I dig it. I really, really dig it. But that's what we got there. We're moving on. Next, we're talking about Warner Brothers. And this one's a bigger piece. Warner Brothers movie division has struck up a deal with Cineworld, presumably because streaming has not been going so well for them as they had once hoped. Warner Brothers is going to go theatrical release only starting in 2022. So the rest of the year, as they have already announced, they're going to be doing a simultaneous release in theaters and on HBO Max. But after 2021, that is going to be an exclusively theatrical release for the first presumably couple of months, and then it's going to go straight to streaming. So that is happening. That's pretty cool that they're, giving a little bit of love to the movie theaters. That's all we've got, though, so we're moving on. Our next piece is another casting announcement. This one has to do with Shazam 2. Helen Mirren has been cast as Hespera. So it seems that they're going more Greek mythology than comic book mythology, because Hespera in the comic books is a completely different thing. So interesting, but that's all we've got. So that is the follow-up. So now let's get into the news. We have Ace Ventura 3 kicking off the news for this section. That's right. Amazon is now reportedly, according to comicbook.com, is in active pre-production on an Ace Ventura 3 movie. No word as to whether or not they're getting Jim Carrey to come back. No word on anything beyond the fact that they want this to happen, so they're doing what they can to put those wheels in motion. So that's all we've got there. Next, we're talking about some passings in the Hollywoods. So Jessica Walter, who voiced the mother from Archer's mother, I guess specifically, I should say. She was also in Arrested Development. She passed away this week at 80 years old. Mums, who was a famous poet and also in Oz and Luke Cage, he passed at the age of 52. And Richard Gilland, who was in Dexter and Designing Women, which Designing Women isn't really relevant to nerd culture, but he was in Dexter and he just passed at 71. So we're going to take one moment of silence to honor the memory of these three pretty great actors, to be quite honest. And that is, sadly, the end of the movie section, nerds. Now let's get into the rumor mill. We only have two pieces. First piece is Berlanti-verse. There is now talk that they're going to turn the Berlanti-verse series of shows, so Flash, what else is in the Berlanti-verse right now? Everything's getting canceled. Flash, Batwoman, Superman and Lois, Green Arrow, which has been canceled for a couple years at this point. Supergirl, which is also coming to an end this year. Black Lightning, which is also coming to an end this year. So this is, according to the rumor, this is the way that Warner Brothers is going to maintain those characters to some degree, is by turning them into movies, so that they have a different set of contracts with those actors, so those actors can go on and do things that make them money that aren't reliant on Warner Brothers for whatever reason. So likelihood for this, I don't know. It seems like a fun idea, but no corroborating evidence yet. No, it's only coming from one source. It's a good source, but it's only one source, so that doesn't necessarily play to its favor. As far as the validity for this goes, again, it would be a lot of fun. I really can't give this a whole lot of validity. We're going to go about 30%, and I feel like that's being kind of generous. Our other rumor has to do with The Flash. Now, we talked about in the last episode that Michael Keaton might not actually be coming in for Batman, for his version of Batman, for the Flashpoint movie. Well, if that is the case, then this rumor says, well, that's okay, because we might get Christian Bale or George Clooney to also be in this movie instead of Michael Keaton. So that's who will be interacting with Ben Affleck's Batman. I don't know. So one of the sources says just Christian Bale. This comes from two different places. One of those sources says just Christian Bale. The other place says Christian Bale or George Clooney. So that I feel like is potentially a little bit of a thorn in the side, because that's not a thing that anybody wants, not even George Clooney, unless there's some way they can redeem him for all of the bad, which also isn't very likely. So this is a fun thought experiment as well. Less likely to be happening, though. Validity for this rumor, because of that George Clooney bit, very exclusively, is right about 20% valid. I really don't see this one going anywhere, but it might. It might. But that's all we got for Rumors, Nerds. That is for this episode of Headlines Nerds. For a more in-depth conversation on these nerdy bits, plus the entire news show, you can join me on my personal YouTube channel, Generally Nerdy. While you're here, though, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for all of the Big Show Entertainment Media platforms, especially the YouTube. We're giving away a PlayStation 5 once we hit 1,000 subscriptions. So tune in, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you very much, nerds. Don't forget to tune in next time for all that's happening across the nerd world.